Hello and welcome to the video lessons on the opening of the Key Tarot spread. My name is Marcus Katz. I'm the author of Tarosophy and the founder and co-director of Tarot Professionals Limited. I've been reading tarot for over 30 years, studying and teaching it, and the opening of the key is one of my favourite methods. It is, however, seen as being somewhat difficult. I think this is mainly because people have neglected to inform students of the required skills that are necessary to actually perform the reading itself. There's actually very little learning that needs to take place in order to perform this reading. One has to learn 22 correspondences, a few counting methods, and a few pairing methods. One can also add into it elemental, planetary dignities and something I call natural dignities. This is an issue that I discuss more in my book. However, I think that the major stumbling block for most of my students seems to be that this reading is non-positional. That's to say that the cards do not necessarily have a positional meaning. For example, this card signifies your past. This position signifies the outcome, and the card in it therefore signifies the outcome. In the opening of the key method, we have to learn how to invoke a narrative flow. This makes it very powerful for detailed and accurate divination readings, fortune telling. The Golden Dawn, from which this system derived, used it as a method in which their adepts would be taught how to use it for divination. However, I think it's also a very profound teaching system as well. So what we're going to do in this sequence of lessons is first of all practice two particular methods, two particular skills, and then I'm going to introduce the method itself, and then we're going to walk through all 5 of the spreads that comprise the whole of the opening of the key method. So the first 2 skills that we need to learn, I believe, in order to perform this particular method is narrative flow and dignities. We're going to cover natural dignities. If you want to learn elemental dignities, then I'd highly recommend Catherine Chapman and Paul Hughes Barlow's book, Beyond the Celtic Cross. You might also consider Liz Hazel's book, Tarot Decoded. So, the first exercise is in narrative flow. You'll find a MP3 file in the library, and what I'd like you to do is download that file and then play the sounds within the file itself as a sequence and make up a story. First of all, in this way. I want you to start the first story with once upon a time. This is the most common way to start a story, of course. But I want you to narrate the story in the past tense. So as you hear the sounds played in the MP3 file, I want you to actually correspond those and involve them within your storytelling itself. You can either write this down, or when I'm doing this in a class, I do it in pairs, one person telling the story to the other person. So say for example, as you hear the first sound, say for example lightning, you could start off with, once upon a time there was a farm and a farmer. He heard some lightning outside. And then continue the story until the next sound appears on the soundtrack, and then involve that sound as well. Might make a very unusual story, but that's not too important at the moment. I just want you to get used to telling a story in the past tense. Once upon a time there was, they did, they had. Okay? So if you like to go and do that, then what you can also do is play the same soundtrack again, but this time tell it in the present tense. So what I want you to do is tell the story, I am walking down the road, I am hit by lightning. This hurts me very much. And then continue the story in the present tense as if it's really happening to you right now. And then, of course, you may be a little bit ahead of me by now, what I'd like you to do is then play the whole soundtrack again and then tell it in the future tense. You will find yourself one day in a car, and that car will be travelling along and you will suddenly hear lightning. I want you to learn to go through the same sound sequence just with the future tense. So in effect practicing the same sequence in past, in present and future tense. Just developing a narrative from the very, very strange sounds that you're going to hear, seeing how you can join those together. This works very well with sounds for most people. And after a break in this video, I'm going to come back and tell you a little trick about those sounds. However, first of all, I want you to do the exercise. So download the MP3 file, and then you can play about with the exercise and then move to video number 2 in this sequence. Thank you.